Buttertarts are made from Pat and Ruby.
Hello everyone, it's Pat and
Ruby.
We're here for the Boys and Girls Club. During quarantine, the Buttertart Festival has been cancelled, but we thought it would be a good idea to show everyone how to make butter tarts. So today we're going to start off with the pastry, and Ruby's going to put the, I use shortening, you can use lard, use the whole package. I have 5 cups of flour in the bowl. I reserved back half a cup of flour so that you can put it on the counter as you're rolling. So Ruby's going to cut this up with the knife into pieces, and then she's going to use the pastry cutter to mix it all in with the flour. You cut it in with the flour and make it so that it's sort of crumbly together. And then we're going to use our hands to finish mixing it once we add our egg and this. Ruby hasn't done this too often, so she's learning today. So when she's done that, we do 1 egg. With 1 tablespoon of vinegar and a cup of water. You want to use cold water, is always best. Perfect. Ruby's doing that. I'll measure out the vinegar and the egg. And we need up to 1 cup with both items in it. Mix that together like this. And we need a teaspoon of salt. And a trick that my mother or Ruby's grandmother would do is a teaspoon of baking powder. Alright, so Ruby's got that done pretty good. She's going to dump in the eggs and the liquid. And we're going to mix it all up. Just going to take the fork. So far we've got 5½ cups of flour, 1 egg, a tablespoon of vinegar, a teaspoon of salt, and we've mixed that all up into the bowl. And we're going to use our hands to make the pastry. Jump in, Ruby.
It feels weird.
Yes, it does feel weird. So once we're done that, we're going to roll that out. So now we're ready to roll out our pastry. You can see that it's ready to go. It should be like this. It should be a little bit sticky, and that's why you have your reserved flour. So Ruby's going to start off. She sprinkled the board with the ½ cup of flour that you kept to the side, and that helps out with the rolling on the counter. She's going to pat it down. She makes a circle, and then she's going to get the rolling pin. So then you probably should pick it up, swish it around to get a little more flour, so that it doesn't stick. We also have a cookie cutter, so you need something that's a good size. I'm not sure how, this is maybe 6 inches, 5 inches, and you can use a cup, a bowl, anything that's big, or a cookie cutter, and then you'll cut those out to go into the pan.
I made that big. I think it's fine.
So you want to roll it out so that it's not too thin, but you don't want it too thick either. You'll be able to tell once you start to cut them and put them into your pan. Just use a regular muffin tin is all I use. Ruby's going to cut them all out, and we're going to put them into the pan.
It's fine. I don't know if that's good. It's fine.
You're doing a good job. And you just squish them down into the pan.
They're small.
It's okay. Until you filled the pan, and then we'll go on with the next step of making the filling. So your pastry is going to be a little sticky. That's why I said we keep back a little bit of flour, and you flour the board, and you can put a bit of flour on top of the pastry when you're rolling so that it doesn't stick. And then you roll it out, and not too thin. You want it to be thick enough that it's going to hold everything in the filling. While you're doing this and you're finished, before we start making the filling, I always cook these on the upper rack of the oven. I do set the oven at 350, and you're going to bake it for 20 minutes once you put them in there. All right, so we're all done that. That's good, Ruby. So now we're going to make the filling. So you need 1 cup of brown sugar and 3 tablespoons of butter. And Ruby's going to mix those two together, cream them in together. And then we're going to add 1 cup of corn syrup to that, and then she'll mix that all in together. Just a little bit more, Ruby. Make sure that you get it all mixed in so that the butter's pretty consistent with the brown sugar. Alrighty, throw in your corn syrup. You can scrape the cup with your spoon there to try and get out some of the excess there. Okay, mix that in together. Stir it all around.
Oh, you got me on the hand.
Oh. Once she's done that, then she's going to mix in the eggs. So the key to this is to try and make sure that your butter's mixed in. If you leave your butter out the night before, if you know you're going to do some tarts, then it'll be nice and soft and easier to manipulate.
I think that's good.
Okay, yeah. Now we're going to Ruby's going to crack 3 eggs. If you like your butter tarts to be a little more runny consistency, you could use 2 eggs. I like mine a little bit more solid, so I use the 3 eggs. She's just going to dump those in there. Hopefully we don't get any eggshells in. She looks like she's a professional doing this one. And she's going to add a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And you never measure over the bowl. So then you don't have to worry about a spill. So a teaspoon of vanilla, a half a teaspoon of salt, a tablespoon of lemon juice, which cuts some of the sweetness of the tarts, the sugar. And that's it. And we're just going to stir that all in now. Make sure it's all mixed really well. While Ruby's doing that, My butter tarts are something that everybody really likes me to make for them, so I have to make pecan because some don't like raisins and some like raisins, and then Ruby, who doesn't like to have anything, she likes to have a plain tart. So what I do is I take some raisins and I sprinkle a few in the bottom. It's a choice of how much you want, more or less, just a few in each bottom of each one for the raisins. I just use a sultan raisin. It's the easiest and the most flavorful for these for cooking. And I'll put those in the bottom, and so then when we put the filling on, it just fills it in, and you can tell once we cook them which are which by the top of the tart. I've done those. I'm going to leave 3 plain ones. We're going to fill these up.
I think that's good.
Yes, that's fine. Do you want to pour, or do you want me to do it?
I can.
All right.
How much do you want?
So we're just going to pour a little bit in each one.
It's heavy. Is that good?
Yeah. You don't want to fill it to the top, but you're going to fill it, about 3/4 of the way, because they will expand a little bit. And you can always go back and divide amongst them if when you're finished you have excess, and just fill them up a little bit more. And these 3 we're going to do pecans. So she's going to put the filling in here, and then we're going to put the pecans on top. So fill those 3 up. That's good. That's a good size. I have the pecans. I had half pecans. I just crushed them so that they're not small. They're bite-sized, kind of like a pecan pie kind of consistency, so that you have them. And I just lay them on the top of the tart, and they just cook that way down so that it's good. And then we're going to be ready to put them in the oven. And like I say, you can leave them plain, raisins, or the pecans.
Hello, my little puppy.
Hi, we're back. We've been joined by Poppy. Our tarts have been brought out of the oven. I forgot to mention that the recipe makes 2 dozen. If you just want to make a dozen butter tarts, just cut the recipe in half. Now, there's 2 ways of taking these out of here, all depending on what your preference is. You can do it individually with a knife and just pull them out like this. Or another way that I do, which is quick, is put a cookie or a cutting board on, flip them upside down, and out they come. And then they're all ready to go. And I have a couple of taste testers here, and they're going to taste them and make sure that they taste good, and I hope everyone enjoys their butter tarts. Grab a butter tart, Poppy.
I just picked it.
All right, everybody enjoy. Thank you. They're good? Very good. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.